Hey there! Thanks again for tuning into my videography series, episode 4. This is your host, James. Today's topic is my family, so it's going to be an extremely short video. I really don't have much to say about them. I think the best way to understand a person is to know where they've come from, or in this case, who they've come from. I feel like my environment greatly shaped my current existence. I'm going to focus just on my immediate family. I'll talk about my relatives in another video. So just my mother, father, and 2 brothers. I'll try to paint them in a more positive light. One thing I can say is that we were all incredibly independent. That is to say, we all grew apart from one another. There was virtually no support whatsoever. Each of us was on our own. I'll start with my mother. She was the youngest of her own family, and I guess that left her a little spoiled. She seemed to be used to always getting her way, which made life more difficult for the rest of us. But aside from that, she had a few interests. Mostly television. That was her avoidance strategy. No one could talk to her when she was watching television, which was always. She loved talk shows and sitcoms. Her musical tastes were a bit more eclectic. She enjoyed pop music, rock, and country. Some of her favorite artists were Elvis, Michael Jackson, Kenny Rogers, John Denver, and Barry Manilow. She never went to college and wasn't interested in higher learning, but she was interested in spirituality and the occult. She believed in aliens and UFOs. She studied tarot and astrology, which she then imposed upon me. She enjoyed reading about these kinds of topics. She also had a handful of friends that she spent time with from time to time. And she was especially close to her mother, my grandmother. But she was also very headstrong and opinionated. I had very little in common with her, other than my love of reading and, to a certain extent, spirituality. My father, on the other hand, was a polar opposite. My father graduated from a college and went into banking and management. He had virtually no friends that I am aware of, and was not altogether close to his family, for whatever reason I know not. He was incredibly interested in science, science fiction, comedy, and to a lesser extent, sports. He was, sadly, a Dolphins fan to the very end. Especially early on, he loved video games, especially Atari, that he played virtually nonstop. He co-opted me into that hobby. He also loved television, a hobby my parents shared, though by no means similar programming. He was a Trekkie. He also enjoyed watching game shows and the occasional sitcom. His musical tastes were more geared towards rock, with Billy Joel being one of his favorite artists. I shared most of my interests with him. Next, I'll talk about my older brother, who is about 4 years, 5 months older than me. He too was very interested in video games in the beginning, and even took me to the local arcade a few times during grocery runs. That only lasted until I was about 7 or 8, when, sadly, the arcade closed down and was converted into a deli. For as long as I knew my older brother, he always surrounded himself with a huge group of friends. He still has some of those that he spends time with back then. Their interest revolved around heavy metal music, which I was not interested in back then. Since he had such a huge group, it is not surprising that he was the most independent of our family, and did not participate in family functions very often. Not only did he have a large group of friends, but because he was the oldest, he was also the closest to all of our relatives, especially my cousins. He also had several girlfriends of which I am aware. Besides heavy metal, he developed an interest in computers, especially fixing computers, which ultimately led to his industry, technical support. He also took the longest to graduate from college. He married at age 30 and had his first child at age 35. Now he has 2 children and is happily married. His wife got him into sitcoms, as well as becoming a heavy coffee drinker. My younger brother is about 3 years, 9 months younger than me. Being that we shared a room, we spent the most time together. But he suffered from some emotional difficulties. Unlike our older brother or father, he never developed an interest in video games. His musical interests were rap and acid rock, and to a much lesser extent, heavy metal. His favorite artists were Eminem, Limp Bizkit, Papa Roach, and Disturbed. He also did not have many friends growing up, and was not close to our relatives. But he had a strong bond with our mother. She was very influential in his life, in terms of his interests, which included gardening and sitcoms. We were fairly close until I moved to my university, at which point we grew mostly apart. Eventually, he became a gardener and moved in with our father, living there for a time before returning to our mother. He has since become very spiritual and joined a religious group. He also became really buff. And that just about sums up my immediate family. They are just a bunch of people that I kind of know, which is more than I can say about anyone else. Feel free to leave a comment or two if you liked this video, and you can like and subscribe if you so choose. Also, I would appreciate any support on my Patreon, link below. Thanks for watching my video, and I look forward to sharing more next time. Bye.